This video isn't going to be any informational because I am just going to share some of my works from last year. So, the things that I find most productive in doing is learning and making art. I have this desire to work on the analytical and creative parts of me, and fortunately, I love doing those things. Actually, I can do anything that doesn't involve physical activity. I have no problem in learning, but I do have a problem when it comes to making content in art. Viewed from the screen are some of my artworks from last year. I'm not that kind of professional. I just scribble what I feel actually because drawing lines makes me calm. And some of my works are also inspired from the ideas of others, especially from the Artido community. And here, on the other hand, are the list of poems that I made, and there are so many of them. You can actually find all of them on my Facebook page called the Antichron. It's not a big one, but it has such respectful audience there, and I want to thank all people who reads my poems and message me right after. Most of my poems are about my anxiety, since I had been experiencing some severe panic attacks from last year, and writing has been my medium for meditation and just accept the reality around me and put them into words. Because to be honest, I've been good in escaping reality and make myself numb in those times that I must be sentient. And writing all my feelings into one entry just makes me sort of come back to my place in reality. I've been writing so many poems last year, some of which I'm really proud of. But I have a problem, and I guess this is also a problem for many artists. I am so frustrated with the force in my brain saying that if I am going to be happy and away from this kind of darkness and anxiety that I'm feeling, then all of the things that I wanted to do artistically, like writing poems, will not be as good as the poems that I write when I am sad and anxious and slump kind of feeling. Because in writing, you need those emotions. And this is a problem, especially for writers and artists whose works has become their job because they need the driving force in them to create content. This was actually also discussed by the Netflix show The Midnight Gospel, if you know that show. And one of the characters said that this kind of view between happiness and creativity is one of the lies of the disease. Because, for starters, your emotions is a key for art, but it's not the only key. Like, there are much more cheaper ways in order to create content, such as motivation to do things and inspiration from other people, and still be as good. And I once experienced that when I stopped having panic attacks for a finite period of time and stopped writing poems about my anxiety. And I really thought that it's the end, and then I couldn't write poems anymore. But that's until I started writing entries about love and happiness and gratitude. I even wrote an entire poetry book about it, but it's self made for my boyfriend and it's called Rhythm, and just compiled all the poems I wrote there all about him. And he said he loved it, and I was pretty satisfied about my work too. But there are also other times when I am feeling numb and I have no motivation and inspiration to do anything whatsoever, so I kind of enter this slump state wherein I can't do anything at all. I can't write, I can't draw, I can't make songs and anything like that, and that's the worst state of all. But you have to forgive yourself for that. Whether some people might tell you that you can stand and get over it, in reality, we have different versions of how we perceive and feel emptiness. Some might see it as solitude or a peaceful, lonely state, and some might also see it as the lowest form of death. So they can't invalidate what you're feeling just because they experienced the same thing but felt different about it. When you're feeling numb, or if you're feeling any kind of emotion, actually, it's important to focus on yourself and meditate. We spent most of our lives wondering anyway, and a day of forgiving yourself for not doing anything creative to self heal is important. Just make sure that you're making progress, and just make sure that it's for your own good. I could also use that advice myself. See you on the next video.